so well fits what we're talking about. When we come in the door, he instantly starts looking for people that needs encouragement. He comes in, for those that don't know Jeff, Jeff just passed away because of some major liver issues that he'd been battling for the last few months. But even at times when he was able to be here for services, or he'd drop by the office because he was encouraging the minister, he immediately always would ask, how is this person doing? And I heard this person's sick, and is so-and-so still attending? And he didn't come in and say, oh, I just can't believe how terrible this is. The doctor says I'm not doing that well. There was never complaints. But it was always, how's that person doing? Genuine care for one another. And the reason we miss it is because every one of us that ever got close to him was touched that way. And it didn't matter who you were, what kind of lifestyle you had. It didn't matter if you sat out there on the curb in the street, and some people, I saw him talking to those. It didn't matter if you carried a PhD. Everybody was the same to Jeff. He'd just come walking in with those red tennis shoes, just kind of grubby looking, a little bit colorful, artsy. That's why I have this tie on today, by the way, because I think of Jeff. And he just tuned into people. How you doing today? Jeff was never at the top of his list. He was always at the bottom. And the reason we felt so good and felt encouraged because he was following exactly the principles that God laid out. I think of a competition that's called a tug of war. And you got one side, another side, and a giant rope in between, and you're pulling back and forth. Well, visualize it. Jeff is on our side, and he's been pulling. He's doing an effective job holding his own. Well, the Lord decided to take him home. So now we need somebody, as we say, to take up the slack in the rope. And since he was effectively very strong in doing that, we're going to need a lot of help. A lot of extra people pulling for one another. That we be strong. That we're reminded to carry on regardless of what goes on in our life. That God has given us a higher calling, as Paul talks about, that we have to live up to. I know Jeff believed in that. And you believe in that. And that's what God would have us to do. Let's go back to that passage in Acts one more time. Verse 36, chapter 4. And Joseph, that was his name, till he did what he demonstrated here, who was also named Barnabas by the apostles, which is translated, by the way, son of encouragement, because that's what he did. A Levite and a man of the country of Cyprus, having land, sold it, and brought the money, and he laid it at the apostles' feet. And Satan felt a mighty blow that day by a simple act of an individual that cared for one another. That's what makes us different from the rest of the world. Central does an effective job at it. Got a little extra slack we've got to pick up. Do it well. And remember those that have done that, and recognizing how important that was to you, realize it's the same thing to others and treat them that way. God help us to be strong. All of that because, as we sang the song before the service here, before the sermon, we want to get to heaven. And we talk about the day that when we want to get to heaven. Would you like to go today? Or would you rather wait for tomorrow? I used to think, well, I'd rather wait because there's some other people I want to talk to yet. But that'd be the only reason I'd want to wait. Because I'm ready. Are you ready? Are you spiritually ready? Is your heart ready? Is your lifestyle ready? Question number 1, have you been baptized into Christ? Acts chapter 2 demonstrates that's an important step that each one of us as individuals must make in order to call ourselves a Christian. That based upon our repentance and our faith, of course. And then we have a commitment to live up to. We don't do it perfectly. But if you're not walking that road and living to that, then make a change. And we're singing a song to encourage anybody that's not right with God. Or if you just need prayers because you need some encouragement, come down front. We're certainly here to help. Would you come while we stand and sing?